When we talk about the demand curve, it's important to remember that we're talking about a relationship between price and quantity demanded, ceteris paribus. And what that means is what happens to the quantity demanded whenever we change the price, but we don't change anything else. So that's our demand curve, but then we need to look at, well, what if everything isn't the same? What if something else does change? So what if ceteris paribus is no longer in effect? What we're going to see on that is we're going to see a change overall to the demand curve. Remember, when we change price, we move up and down the curve that's already there. But if one of these other things that we'll talk about changes, then we're going to see the whole demand curve change. Let's start first of all with a list of these different things that can change. We call these the non-price determinants of demand, and you can break them into 4 general categories: tastes, income, population, and price of other products. If you want, you can remember the acronym TIP, T-I-P-P, to keep those 4 straight. For taste, we mean, well, just how much do you like a product and what might cause that to change? It could be advertising or marketing. It could be a news story that comes out about the health benefits of a product, or maybe, a company is doing something that we, the public, don't like. Anyhow, for whatever reason, our opinion of the product can change. It can get better or worse. Some related ideas, well, seasons can have a big effect on this. Obviously, as it's getting warmer, you start to buy things or have demand for things that you didn't have a few months ago, and obviously vice versa. Government policies, if the government encourages us to not smoke or eat healthier or spend more time outside. Anyway, all those sorts of things can also affect taste. Income, well, when your income increases, if it's a normal good, you're going to buy more of that thing. So most things are going to be a normal good. But some things that we buy are inferior goods. So something like, generic food at the supermarket, or a generic brand at a supermarket. Or maybe a car that we don't think of as well, maybe a Tata or something like that out of India. Well, as people get more and more income, they'll buy less of the goods that they're buying because that's what they can afford. With an inferior good, the reason you buy it is because it's affordable. As you make more money, more things become affordable and you buy less inferior goods. Everything else, though, is normal. You make more money, you buy more of those goods. Well, again, government policy can have an effect on our income. In particular here, what we mean is when income taxes change and I physically have less or more money to spend. It doesn't matter whether or not your income changes, it could just matter that you expect it to change. If I hear that the economy is improving and I expect myself to make more money, it's going to affect how I buy things. If I hear that the economy is getting worse and I think, oh, I might lose my job, again, it's going to affect how I buy things. Population, more people buy more stuff. Okay. Also the structure of the population, young, old, immigration from other parts of the world, things like that. Overall wealth of the population, those sort of things. So that's just means structure. And then finally, price of other products. So not just the price of the other products. So if we're talking about Apple and iPhone, well, obviously if the price of iPhones changes, well, the price of Samsung or demand for Samsung is going to be affected. But also just straight up competition. If iPhone comes out with a new feature that Samsung doesn't have, the demand curve for Samsung will also change. So whenever one of these demand curve shifters changes, whenever one of them changes, you're going to see the demand curve shift to the right or shift to the left, depending on the particular one. When we see that, if we take it over to a demand schedule, well, our demand schedule is telling us at various prices how much quantity demanded is there. So let's say that this is going to be a normal good and my income increases. So when the price was 0, I would have bought at most 40. Well, if the income increases, or if my income increases, maybe I want more of those. So maybe this is going to go to 45. So instead of being 40 here, we're going to be 45 there. Well, at a price of 0, if I want more, well then at a price of 1, I also want more. So this is going to be 37. So we're just going to add 5 to all of these. Notice that it still declines by 8, which is the same pattern that I saw in the original demand schedule. That's not going to change. So if that's true, if every single point on the demand curve shifts over to the right by 5, what we get is a brand new demand curve over here that we're going to call D2. Notice that the function for the demand curve, which was 40 minus 8p, it's going to have to change as well. Well, how do I change it? I said that I added 5 at every level, so in economic terms, I would say that the demand increased by 5 at all prices. So here, I'm going to take the function, and I'm just going to add 5 to the function. I can't combine 5 with 8p, but I can combine 5 with 40. So 40 is going to change to 45, and our new function is going to be 45 minus 8p. Keep in mind that we could go the opposite way. I could have taken 5 away from each of these, in which case we would have gone to 40 and 35 and on down, and then we would see the demand curve shift to the left, and we would say that demand decreased in that situation. One last thing to keep in mind is to be careful about your terminology. When we talk about the demand curve shifting, we say that demand increased or decreased, or shifted left or shifted right. When we're talking about moving up or down a demand curve, again, that's where we say quantity demanded increased or decreased. If you have any questions, leave a comment below.